Good morning. Had an interesting athletic weekend. I ran a 15K race on Saturday, and then Saturday night I watched the boxing match between Eddie Chambers and Tomas Adamek. And this video isn't so much designed to talk about how I thought Chambers won the fight, even though he did. I thought he did. Um, that was based on the fact that whereas Adamek threw more punches, far more punches. Most of them landed on Eddie's gloves, and I thought Eddie connected more shots, but I'm not a professional boxing judge. And of course, being a Chambers fan, I was biased. So that's worth what you're paying to hear. This is more, though, uh, about what I learned or came to realize from following Eddie Chambers over the past year or so. All my life, I wanted to be an athlete. And primarily, I wanted to be a football player in high school. The problem well, I was close to being one. The only thing I lacked was speed, power, agility, strength, and reflexes. In other words, I didn't have the DNA for it. And it's not like I didn't try. I used to, during the summers, I'd get my ankle weights. That's what we did then. I'd run up and down the side of the stadium. I'd do all the prescribed running. I'd do more of it. I lifted weights. We used the old universal machine back in those days. And I trained year-round for it. I put in the effort, but I didn't have it. And I was envious of those that did. And so I said, wow, I wanted to be a professional athlete. Well, when I started following, one of the things I noticed was during Eddie's training for this fight, first thing I remembered is that he had to back out of a couple of other fights due to training injuries. He had a back injury and some other type of injury. And, in his case, since this is what he does for a living, that's lost income, lost chances. And then in the build-up to this fight, a dear friend and mentor of his died, but he had to put that behind him and go on. That's a tough thing to do mentally, emotionally. And then in the around the second round, he was doing very well. He ended up injuring his left arm. Perhaps it's a bicep tear. I'm not really sure what the injury was, but it was a significant injury. And he basically had to fight an excellent fighter 10 rounds with only one hand that he could use for punching. He could block with the injured arm, but he couldn't punch with it. And he had to disguise that too, because you let another professional fighter know that you're injured. It's like blood in the water for a shark. He had to overcome, and even when he had to overcome, he didn't win the decision on the judges' scorecards, but he sure made a outstanding effort, a very professional warrior-like effort. And I guess the whole point of this is I might admire, when he's in the ring and he's getting the praise and the fans cheering for him and the support. I admire that, I envy that. But what he had to go through, all the setbacks, all the adversity he had to overcome, and then the frustration of being in great shape and then having another injury, I really don't envy that. The thing is that these professional athletes, it's very easy to envy their success and fame. But we should also remember what they had to go through there to get that success and fame, and how it often doesn't work out even though they've done everything right. Vitaly Klitschko had to go through a long, frustrating period of injuries where he thought about hanging it up, and it ended up working out well for him. But for every Vitaly Klitschko, how many does it not work out for? It's a hard business to succeed in. You can do everything right and have the ability and still not succeed. And so it's tough, a lot tougher than I realize at times. So, when they're in their ring or they're in the arena or they're running on the track, in the Olympics, I have to remember behind every successful athlete, there's a long story how they got there and what they had to overcome to do so. Thanks for listening.